to the bunker. Join Nikki, Rosella, Robert, Kayla, and Cole Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time as we traverse the portals of the universe. Discover the secrets of the cryptids. Uncover the truth of conspiracy. And explore the hauntings of our world. And once again, welcome to the S4 Paranormal Bunker.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the S4 Paranormal Bunker. Tonight with us we have Robert. Robert, you are the only one here with us tonight. Rosella is still off on her break, and Nikki is resting. Unfortunately, Nikki...
Yeah, most definitely.
Nikki's mom wasn't doing that well, and unfortunately she passed away today. So, condolences to Nikki Jacobs and family. I know this sucks, friend. There is not much else you can say there, but we love you, and we hope that you and your family find solace and comfort.
And remember, if you need anything, we're only one phone call or
Yes.
text message away.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, we will jump in the car and be down there if we need to.
Friend, so...
Love you, Nikki.
Yeah, Robert, jump in the car.
I think we're gonna need a bigger boat. Oh.
Friend, how you doing tonight, Robert?
I'm doing okay, yeah. Just been sorting through some of the 2.2 pounds of quartz crystal I have that of rough, so I can work out which piece I can work on to make them pretty, make them into jewelry of some kind.
Rock on.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a beautiful piece.
Yeah. Got a few other bits here too, but just sorting through them, as I said. The clarity, see-through type stuff.
That one would make a nice oval pendant.
This one here, I've already thought could make it into like a knife, like shave down this part here, attach it somehow like that maybe, make the knife go up around like that. So, yep. Quartz knife, or even an arrowhead maybe. I've done those in the past.
Okay.
Nice.
Friend, I've never thought of using quartz for an arrowhead. That would be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done it with quartz. I've done it with obsidian. So yeah, the glass type stones are easiest to use because that's pretty much what they were using back then. Anyhow,
Yeah.
they just chipped away at them until they made a blade. And
Friend, you know what would suck as an arrowhead?
not wood.
Salt.
Salt.
Pure freaking salt.
Oh, God. It would only suck if you got hit with it, because then it would add salt to your wound, and you'd be like, oh my God!
But coated in lemon juice.
Yeah.
Oof.
Friend,
Give me a nice paper cut and pour lemon juice over it. We're closed.
I
You
think
just
it'd
shoot
be
it into
very-
into your tequila and have yourself a good night.
An idea.
Friend, so tonight we are going to talk about conspiracies, we're going to talk about cryptids, and we're going to talk about the way things seem to be lining up to almost recreate different parts of history. And not just human history, but Earth history. So what do you guys want to start with?
Let's do the history thing.
Okay, so obviously, and this is as unbiased as I can get, we are kind of following through with the status of the late 1930s. We've got leaders who are fighting for power right now.
Mm-hmm.
We have all seen this before, and people are running scared. They're threatening individuality, they're threatening food, they're threatening every part of our lives almost.
The part that gets me is like the land grabs. Because it's been a long time since a lot of different empires have like expanded, I guess you would say. Like seriously expanded. We think back into like the times of the Romans and stuff when you think about like them taking over different places, but we also think back to like Germany when it started expanding its borders into other countries and everything that. But we have a lot of countries right now that seem to be trying to expand their borders into other people's countries, and I'm like, hey man, let's leave people alone for a little while. Let them do their own thing. I don't know. It's a little weird.
Really? Because I can only think of one.
No, there's quite a few actually. On the Chinese-India border, they're having border conflicts. That's been going on for a long time, but both of them are still trying to expand into that region of each other's countries. We got trouble in the Gaza Strip right now with expansion of borders, and we have issues in Russia, Ukraine, with them trying to take over Ukrainian borders. And then recently with the new president and everything in the U.S., he's been talking about taking over, like, Greenland and different areas like that, too. So, like, we have a lot of people in power right now that are talking about expansion of their borders into other people's countries.
The thing is, the Russia-Ukraine one, you got to remember, too, that's an old one, too.
A lot of them are old ones that are just rearing back up. And I think that's what you were talking about with, like, history kind of repeating itself, is that, like, all of these conflicts that were kind of squashed for a little while now have become active again in a lot of different regions and places.
Well, and, like, that's the thing. Like, we've seen so many years of war. When the fuck do we get to the real peace? Like, guys, I want a replicator so goddamn bad. And that doesn't come till we get peace. Like, all I want is Earl Grey hot. I want to be able to say that and it just appear. And then I'm not going to drink the goddamn thing because, well, I don't like tea. So, but I'll give it to someone. Because that's the peaceful thing to do.
Well, I mean, in order to get, like, true peace, we gotta have food security, shelter security, and all the basic necessities before we can actually start building on, like, real peace. We gotta make sure that we don't have the mass amount of famine and homeless communities and everything that we do. Like, worldwide, not just in specific areas, but worldwide we have mass famine and we have a lot of housing insecurities and different things like that. And once you take care of a person's basic needs, then we can start talking about peace.
But that's the problem. Is these land grabs, these fights that are going on right now, they all say, like, we're just trying to make ourselves prosper. None of this actually leads to prosperity. Friend, everything is, hey, I know I said it wrong. Friend,
Okay.
I couldn't
All
think
I
of
was
the word.
thinking about is how warm it is in Australia right now, and I'm like, the only one perspiring right now is probably Robert, because it's super cold over here.
But None of this actually leads in the right direction.
Mm-mm.
And I don't understand how we didn't learn that the first time.
Well, you know that old saying that, like, history is going to continuously repeat itself. Like, we're just going to continue to make the same mistakes that we've always made. Especially if we wipe out the fact that something happened, then we can't learn from history if we don't know our own history. And really, if you think about it, we don't know very much about human history. Like, we've been around for a real long time, and we only know tiny bits and pieces of our past stories.
Yeah. Like, well, and for those of you who have joined us since we become on YouTube and haven't been there for a lot of the things beforehand, normally on this show, we stay away as much as possible from politics.
Absolutely. Well, we believe that everybody has their own political views, and nobody's wrong for what they believe, but we really don't want to start a political fight with anybody over any of our beliefs, and ours are all different from each other.
That's not what I'm trying to do here. That's not what this show is supposed to be about. This show is supposed to be about maybe coming up with some good ideas because some of the best ideas have always come from a basement, an attic. Some of the best ideas in the world have come from just a few people sitting in a room discussing something.
So you're saying global peace could come from a bunker then?
Yes, absolutely.
And I've found that a lot of them can sometimes come from accidents altogether.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Like how they discovered popcorn. That was an accident.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, same thing with peanut butter. It was a total accident. Yeah.
And chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me that story, because I need to understand
Most
that.
medical necessities and stuff were a complete accident, actually.
How was peanut butter an accident?
Mm-hmm.
Well, so when peanut butter was first, discovered, I guess, rediscovered, I'm going to say, because there's no way that somebody didn't smash a nut at some point before that. But they were, what was it they were trying to do? They were trying to make something that, I'll have to look up the story again, because
there was countries before, like I know that the first one was, his name started with a K. And I want to say Kellogg, but I don't think that's freaking right. But before that, like the Incas created peanut paste that they would spread.
That's what I'm saying, is that like before it was dubbed peanut butter, it technically, there were different things like the Aztecs and the Inca societies that made peanut pastes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they did it by accident. I think they were like, that looks good. Let's put that on that.
Yeah.
Friend, I don't know, like, there's a lot of ways that a small idea can turn into a large chunk of history. And like I said, this show usually isn't very political, but we need to start working, everyone in the world needs to start working on small ideas that can turn into a large part of history. And we need to actually start paying attention to what's going on around us. Friend, no matter how scary it is.
Oh. Okay. I am totally off on this because I always thought it was George Bailey that produced peanut butter. And then, John Henry Kellogg.
It was Kellogg! Ha!
But, actually, the patent for peanut butter is from Canada.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. So the first patent for peanut butter was obtained in Ontario, Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
Just like basketball, baseball, friend.
By
pretty much everything.
Cooley.
Margaret.
1884, Marcellus Gilmore Edson of Canada patented peanut paste.
Mm-hmm.
The finished product for milling roasted peanuts between two heated surfaces in 1895. Dr. John Harvey Kellogg, the creator of Kellogg cereal, patented the process for creating peanut butter from raw peanuts. He marketed it as a nutritious protein substitute for people who could hardly chew on solid food. And then somehow everyone became allergic to peanuts.
Well, yeah.
Yep.
Actually, I watched a hilarious movie late one night that's on Amazon. And it's about the way that the Pop-Tart came into existence. Yeah. It is the most outrageous movie in the world. Like, bringing in the space race. The space race didn't matter, by the way. It was all about the cereal race.
It was Post versus Kellogg versus Quaker Oats.
Like, the president got involved.
It was super weird.
And told them they had to come up with a breakfast item that didn't need milk. Because milk was taking over the country. And, like, one of the designers of the Pop-Tart was working for NASA, trying to get people to space and trying to come up with foods they could eat. And she was showing the guy from Kellogg's this drink that she invented. And he said, kind of tangy. And she's like, that's a good name.
Tang.
And, like, every part of it was just ridiculous, but it was a really good movie. So, but, like, there are all kinds of things in this world and that's the thing. We are so concentrated on that, we're not seeing the other things that are repeating. Our weather seems to be shifting backwards. Areas that weren't cold are now colder. Areas that weren't as hot are getting hotter.
Well, see, that's the weird thing is that, like, so Washington, right? Washington has always been known as the state that kind of has mild weather year round. Okay? We're somewhere in the, like, 50s to 70s Fahrenheit year round. Hey, not so much anymore. Well, at least western, our area, the Pacific Northwest. In the summertime now, there are some areas where, some years we've hit 110 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, like, unheard of in this part of Washington. And there are some winters where we have been -5 degrees Fahrenheit. And I mean, like, that's insane for this area. Like, we just don't get those weather fluctuations. But for the last probably about 4 or 5 years, we've had some severe summers and some severe winters. And we haven't really stayed in that bubble that's Pacific Northwest weather for probably about 4 or 5 years now. It's been very different.
Well, and, like, Midwestern Canada, like, right now it's fairly cold there. But it's not very often that in the middle of December, there is no snow on the ground. And they're walking around in t-shirts because they actually can. Not because we're considered crazy, but it's amazing how many people, like, aren't seeing the fact that our weather is going back almost about, I'd say about 5,000 years right now.
Well, I mean, like, Louisiana got, 6 inches of snow this year? Like, I have a cousin down there.
And they had absolutely no idea what to do.
Has never seen snow down there, ever. And I mean, she's been there for, 35, 40 years, and has never seen snow down there. She was originally from here, so it's not like she hadn't seen snow at some point. But a lot of her neighbors, a lot of her friends have never seen snow in person before. And then all of a sudden there's 6 inches of the crap and nobody knows how to drive in it. They don't even have winter tires over there. Like, there's no reason to have them.
It wouldn't, no.
And she's like, it, like, stopped everything. Everybody just, like, stopped in their tracks and nobody went to work because nobody could get there. But public transportation completely stopped because they
Shut
were
down.
not able to move anything because they didn't know how to drive in the snow. Like,
Yeah.
it shut everything down for like a whole week. Which you wouldn't think a couple inches of snow, but I mean, if you think about never seeing it before, that's a terrifying thing to see. To wake up to that when you have never ever seen snow in your life is insane.
Yeah. And then if you're used to seeing it and you don't,
That's just as weird.
yeah, like, and it just seems like all of ours are shifting.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, okay, so the axis of the Earth shifts, and it shifts all the time. Like, it has a wobble to it, and sometimes it wobbles down a little more, sometimes it wobbles up a little more. It shifts. But when we have things like massive earthquakes, or we have a huge volcanic eruption or something like that, it can tilt further one way than the other, which causes like ice ages, which causes tropical ages, different things like that, because it switches the equator area. Like, and it could be just by minuscule amounts, but minuscule amounts over billions of years lead up to a huge amount of tilt. So that's why certain regions used to be rainforests and now are deserts, and vice versa. But we're still in the process of that. Just because we've become more technologically advanced doesn't mean that the world doesn't change constantly.
but it almost seems like it's too fast.
It is a little quick.
Like, and the idea of global warming doesn't account for how fast this is going and the directions it's taking.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that with that, though, when we add the actual tilt of the Earth itself with seismic activity with everything else, okay, and then we also add in the fact that there's some global warming going on and everything else, it's going to speed up the processes that are there.
Yeah.
I don't know about how quickly it's going to speed them up, but I mean, it's definitely going to make them worse than if it wasn't there.
Oh, it's just like at the rate we're going. Friend. It almost seems like certain parts that were sunny and like constant sunshine are going to be our new ice caps.
Which is possible. I mean, like, if you think about millions and millions of years ago, the fact that Antarctica was a tropical paradise. Like, at some point we're going to get to where the continents shift enough and everything else shifts enough that it is going to throw off weather patterns completely and make places into completely different areas.
Friend, yeah, that's true.
And with that, the big thing is going to be the wildlife changes for a lot of people. Because if something becomes a tropical area that was like a wetland, let's say, then all of those species are migrating to areas where they can adapt better. But we're also getting a new influx of species that migrate into the area that they adapt better in. And these species aren't ones that people in that area are going to be used to at all. So I think the world is changing fast enough that humans are just going to have a hard time adapting to the amount of changes that are going to happen with it.
Well, and Andrew's saying the Earth's axis changes would do that too. And that's true, Andrew. And the biggest problem is, for as smart as some of our humans are on this planet, we honestly have no idea how fast that's going to happen.
No, it could be next week. It could be anything.
So this could be completely that, or it might not be. I don't know. Friend, we could be sitting on the verge of them changing right now, and then all of a sudden they will. And it'll completely screw up everything we have technologically
Well, and that's the thing. Just because we don't have a current record of poles changing polarity doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
No, that's true.
We know that it happened years and years and years ago. We know this happened at some point. But we haven't seen it in our lifetimes. We haven't seen it in recorded lifetimes. So we aren't scared of these things happening that could happen at any point. And once they do, that's gonna screw up a lot of things. I mean, the GPS alone is gonna be completely screwed. The fact
Might make it better.
Well, maybe. like I said, like a few shows ago, Google does put you on a river or a lake for 60 miles in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you won't be on the lake.
Yeah, maybe you'll be in Australia instead.
Oh, great.
Yeah, well, the Egyptians have documented the fact that the Earth has actually spun at least once, because the star systems that they have on their walls inside, the ones that they've chiseled in, they are upside down.
No way.
Compared with what they are.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, we know that the North Star has changed several times because of where buildings were in relation to it, like ancient structures and stuff. They had to completely remake different structures in order to point towards it.
Well, I was just thinking with the Egyptians, Robert.
Yeah.
What if the artist was just cross-eyed?
Well, they were using mirrors.
Yeah. For like, sometimes I think we as humans overthink things when we discover them.
Well, okay, so I've always been that weirdo that, like, when they find cave paintings, okay, and there's, like, something that looks like a complete alien, it's got a huge head, it's got long arms and everything else. Have you ever seen a 5-year-old try to draw a human? They all look like that.
I doubt they'd be drawing them inside what looks like a meteor with flames coming out the back going...
No, totally. But I think that some of these cave paintings that people are like, oh my god, this is an alien, or this is this, or this is that.
Yeah.
Well, think about kids back in the day. They'd get just as bored as kids do now. And if you had paint sitting around, if you had something to do, well, I know that my kids, if I gave them Sharpies when they were that age, would color all over their damn wall. So there's no reason that people back then wouldn't have some of the same shit happening and be like, oh my god, what did you do to the cave? Look at this. Okay.
I'm going to throw a little hitch in your whole idea there.
Yeah, don't.
The thing is, when our kids drew on the wall, like, it looked kind of like a clay or cave painting.
Yep.
But at the same time, a lot of it was just scribbles.
Yes. Yeah, that is true.
On these cave paintings, there isn't anything like that. It is very detailed for even just being a cave painting.
No, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying all of them. Absolutely not all of them. But you got to admit that some of these cave paintings are a mess. Like, you look at them and you go, okay, this was done by, like, a teenager. Or this was done by somebody younger. It's not by somebody that's a professional, like,
You
cave
also got to
artist.
remember, back in that day and age, though, a teenager was halfway through their life.
Yeah, that is true. That is absolutely true.
So, they were considered middle age.
Yeah.
I mean, anything you did back then could cause death.
Well, yeah, and honestly, there wasn't the medicines that there are now to prolong things from happening, and there definitely wasn't the surgeries and everything we have now to prolong stuff.
See, like that.
Okay, now that I'm not saying that was done by a 5-year-old. Like, there's no freaking way.
Well,
yeah.
If it was, that's one hell of a 5-year-old.
Right.
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess certain composers did compose things at 5. So...
the write-up on that one says it's a rock painting from the Uff Olishan cave in France, destroyed in a Nazi bombing in 1944. Real or fake? New YouTube video link in bio. No, I won't follow that. Yeah, supposedly found in 1944 or bombed in 1944.
Well,
Well, that's the other thing is we've lost so much of our history due to wars and due to building over top of structural sites and everything like that.
Yep.
That when we do find something like Göbekli Tepe and we're like, holy crap, this existed. Well, it was a farm field. We didn't know that until a farmer dug down and went, what the hell is this rock? Like, exactly.
Robert, do they have an age on that one? Like how old they think it is?
Hang on, going in to have a look. Instagram. Alien God, same rock painting. As I said, destroyed in 1944. Doesn't say when it was actually found. One person says, I don't see any image like that from the gallery of that cave. Fake. So some people, it might be fake, I don't know. Looking everywhere, searching in French, since this is my native language. First off, the spelling sh doesn't exist in French. So it might be fake too. So I don't know. But some other images I've found are similar to that, but they're from millennia ago.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like some of this, like we've talked about there possibly being another
Race.
Yeah, before us.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at some of the creatures in the actual image. One of them to me looks like a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, like a lot of people would compare that to a UFO.
Yeah.
But it also could be a mushroom cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Friend.
Maybe it is depicting when the asteroid hit and it killed off all the dinos. I mean, it could be something like that. But
could be.
Well, and like, what if there was a human race, or well, maybe not human, but close to a bipedal race on Earth at that time?
Mm-hmm. Well, see, that's the other thing that we think of when we think of human existence is there's Homo sapien existence, yes, which would be modern day human, but there are so many iterations of that came before that we don't even truly understand how advanced they became before cataclysms happened and completely wiped out everything. And we don't know enough about our ancestors.
Friend, we have so many guesses as to what actually happened back then that it all kinds of gets jumbled in to everything else. Because like there's time portals, there's friggin' time dilation, there's friggin' alien beings coming and becoming our masters, which from everything we've been told about aliens by our like current abductees, they're not like that.
Not now.
It doesn't mean that a race in the past wasn't. See, that's the thing.
That's true.
Is we're talking billions of years here. We're not just talking like a couple hundred years. We're talking billions of years of evolution and different things that have happened, and billions of races and animals and everything else that lived at one point that are no longer existing. So there's a whole different life forms and everything that we don't even know about. Like there's things on this planet that we have never seen and never probably will.
Yep.
Like think about what possibly lives at the bottom of the Mariana Trench.
Right?
Like we could have whole societies of fish people down there and we wouldn't know it. We would have no idea.
Yeah, because the aliens way back could have said, "Hey, let's spray this pheromone on this monkey and this thing and go at it."
Okay, let's see what happens.
Okay, so when it comes to the Mariana Trench, with the way half of the world pronounces it, I think there's breadsticks and Parmesan cheese down there. Friend.
The marinara trench,
Yeah,
guys.
that is do you know how many times I have heard someone say it that way?
Uh-huh.
It's like unbelievable. And so I automatically think of spaghetti now. And it can't be helped.
That's probably where that spaghetti monster church god lives.
No.
Oh, okay.
With all the big meatballs.
With all the marinaras.
He's in Michigan. For
But I mean, like, and think about just like even areas in the Pacific Northwest. We have areas of the North Cascades that nobody's ever stepped foot on. Nobody's even seen. So there could be whole life forms there that we don't know about. Like for the longest time, they said that apes, not apes, I'm sorry, gorillas were a cryptid. They had it in the cryptid category forever until a researcher walked out and was like, oh my god, there's a gorilla here. And took pictures and brought specimens and everything else. And people didn't believe for years that these weren't fake. Like the very first platypus somebody sent back here, they were like, "Oh my god!" Like,
somebody taxidermied a duck bill onto it, and
exactly. Until they saw one in person and went, "Holy crap, that actually exists." That was also marked down as a cryptid for a while.
well, and that's the thing. Like now we look at those people and we think, man, they were dumb. But we're still doing the same thing. Like the creatures that they found inside lava. For years, we thought nothing could live inside a lava tube, and now we find out that there's actual organisms inside there.
Oh yeah. And you know, we find organisms that can live in some of the most. That's why they call them extremophiles.
inhospitable.
Yeah, is because they live in the extremes. And if we look at...
Robert, you're an extremophile.
If we look at extremophiles, there's no reason that on other planets there wouldn't be something close to an extremophile there. Like, if we have something that can live in a lava tube here at 9,000 degrees, then why couldn't there be something on Mercury? Or why couldn't there be... And I'm not saying that it's necessarily, like, intelligent life forms, but there's gotta be life forms.
Yeah. Well, there doesn't have to be.
Well, if you think of the Earth, just the Earth, right? Everything is living here. Like, everything. Like, okay, there's 10 million freaking, oh god, what are they? Dust mites right now, just chilling on one little tiny particle of something. Okay? Like, the air that we breathe has living creatures in it. Like, there's living things everywhere. So I don't know how in the hell we can say that nowhere else in the entire universe has a single living thing. That's insane to think of.
Because the world needs proof.
Well, yeah, but I mean, maybe they're so microscopic that with our technology that we have right now, because I mean, we're looking at these things from millions of miles above them. It doesn't mean that there couldn't potentially be microscopic life forms in all of these places.
But the world has always needed proof.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, the Irish would have starved if some Irish guy said, "No, I swear on this land we can actually plant potatoes."
Prove it.
Friend, yeah.
Hey, look, potatoes.
Friend.
Yeah.
And that actually leads into the next thing there. Conspiracies. We are always looking for proof. And now that we're being offered it, we don't want it.
No. No, it's just like...
It's too readily available, and now they're saying, oh, it's all AI and stuff like that, and it most likely isn't.
So March 9th is the date. On March 9th, the federal government of the United States of America is required by presidential
decree
to release both the assassination files of JFK and of Martin Luther King Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but how much of that is going to be so heavily redacted that we get the name Martin Luther King Jr. and then redact?
They're not, according to the actual executive order, they're not allowed to redact anything.
You know, okay, all this is going to do is make people go, bullshit.
I knew it.
Bullshit.
I knew it.
Yeah. It's going to be one or the other. There's going to be some guy sitting there that's like, I knew that's what happened. And then somebody else is going to be like, well, they just released the information they wanted us to hear. It's not going to change anything. People are still going to have their theories on what actually happened and what didn't. You could have the absolute proof of something right in front of your eyes and still say, nah, that's not real. We see that all the time with people.
Yeah.
So I don't think it matters how much they release on what. People are still going to have their own opinions on what happened, and they're just going to call it fake news or bullshit. They're not going to believe what came out of the government, especially.
Well, so I did a little bit of research, as much as I've been looking up all the stuff on it, and I was trying to figure out all week why they would release these two, and yet we can't get the information released that the FBI has on Bigfoot. Or aliens, or anything like that. Everything else is being redacted. This one is supposed to be 100% open.
Well,
then I found out that Trump isn't actually the one who did this. It was Obama. Obama actually required, or signed the original executive order, but the time limits he gave, and he put a stipulation that if they needed more time to go through and decide what they could and can't release,
that they got it,
that they have it.
Boom.
So every president since then has extended that timeline. This is Trump's second time in office with another president in between, and on this one he finally decided, no, it's time. They have to get this done. But the original order wasn't signed by him. I didn't know that.
Yeah. But, see, that's what I'm saying, though, is that even, no matter what information they released, they could release every single redacted file they'd had on any experiments, on anything. They could do a total dump of the entire server, and people would still pick and choose what they think is real and what is falsified and who said this and when this happened and everything else. Like, especially with AI, with everything that's happening now, people don't believe shit that's right in front of them as being reality anymore.
But right, and there's the problem. You're starting it.
Okay.
Because you don't believe that people can change their point of view from it.
No, I mean, look on Facebook for 5 seconds. It's really hard to change anybody's point of view anymore.
Brent, it actually isn't. That's the thing. A lot of people have done really well at actually changing points of view, especially over the last 20 years. You just got to look at it a little bit longer timeline.
Yeah.
Look at how many people we didn't believe were... We didn't, back in the 80s, we didn't believe a man could become a woman and that would be okay.
Yeah,
we
that's
didn't believe
true.
a woman could become a man and that would be okay. We have made huge strides in that sense. We have made huge strides in the fact that two men can be together, two women can be together.
Yeah, well, I mean, everything from, like, women voting rights and up beyond.
Yeah.
Like, we have made significant changes in our thought processes and everything about certain things, yes. But it takes a ridiculous amount of time to change a philosophy that has been...
But it has to start somewhere.
It does. It does. No, for sure.
And this could be the start of that. It also could be a horrible idea. Like, the main reason he says he's doing it is because the families need closure. Well, all the Kennedys that knew John F. Kennedy, all the kings that knew Martin Luther, they're gone.
I mean, not all of them, but well, that's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. I hear you.
Anyone who knew Kennedy and Martin Luther King, they might be alive today, but the problem is most of them, they didn't know him as a person.
Yeah.
They knew of him. They maybe got to be around him,
Mm-hmm.
but they were all too young to actually really talk to them.
Yeah. It'd be like a release of information on my great-grandfather that I met like a couple of times. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, that you walk past as you played.
Yeah, that you didn't really honestly sit there and have in-depth conversations with the person and get to know them on that level. I get you.
Yes, both items, or both times, both incidents changed a nation.
Yeah.
Really heavily.
Mm-hmm. And brought forth new policies and all kinds of different organizations and everything based off of.
But I don't see how releasing the information on what the government actually knows about it, I don't see how it's going to have a positive impact on anything.
Well, that's what I said. It could actually be detrimental to certain things. Like, depending on what they're going to be releasing, depending on what actually went down, it could be detrimental to some
Absolutely.
of these different communities and different organizations that have spawned because of it.
So I guess that's the question I'm throwing out on conspiracies is, do we actually want to know in the end what really happened on any of it?
Well,
do we really want to know if the moon landing was faked?
I mean, as far as knowing your history, it would be nice to know the actual information, just because then, quite literally, that's what I was saying in the beginning, is the only way that we change the outcome of something is by knowing what didn't work in the past. So, if we're going off of that, then it would be nice to know all of the actual facts around so that we don't make the same mistakes, so that we don't do the same things going into the future.
The problem is, Kayla, who is still alive from the moon landing? I mean, the people that actually worked on it.
There's a few.
Okay.
They're pretty
I
old.
know one.
But how old are
Yeah,
they?
he's
Yeah, they're pretty old now.
in his 70s, I think now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Because he was one of the ones that they actually asked for help from. He was a student at, I think it was MIT, might have been, one of the ones nearby to where NASA was. So they actually called him up and, hello, Mr. Parker, if you ever watch this. He was called upon to do the mathematical equations for them because they couldn't work out what to do for a certain scenario where they were trying to turn the orbiter somehow up there. So they called on him to be the mathematical whiz to do it, and he did.
Nice.
now the thing is, though, okay, what do we do if we find out it was all fake?
Mm-hmm.
So do we blame him for the billions of dollars that were spent at that time, supposedly on building a device that can go to the moon and all of the things that go with it, but they went to other programs instead?
And then to be tracked by an Australian satellite system.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like every country spent money on that.
Yeah, and I mean billions. Yes.
So,
Yes.
but that's the thing. We have to look at any time we uncover a conspiracy, the detrimental parts of what
It's
it would
global.
bring. Yeah,
Mm.
and the detrimental parts of what it would bring to us. Because someone's going to get mad about the amount of money that was spent when we had starving children all across the world.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Just so somebody could have a golden hammer.
Yeah.
Well, and see, but that's also the thing, is that if it was released that, like, the moon landing was fake, okay, then at that point in time, for the United States and for specific other countries, we had to do that because it was detrimental to the Cold War. It was detrimental to the things that were happening at the time. So sometimes, even though it was a falsification, or what we would call now, you do a little white lie in order to make sure that everybody's a little okay with everything, we wouldn't be the society that we are now had it not been. So even in that, releasing the information that it was faked would also let us learn from the past.
Yeah. But what do you do with all the anger it would cause?
Well, see, that's the thing, is that releasing of any kind of information is going to cause anger on one side or the other. It doesn't matter if it was 100% true or if it was falsified to hell. It's going to piss off somebody somewhere, because everybody has different opinions and different thought processes and different things that led them to where they are in life. So no matter what, you're never going to make everybody happy. You can't.
Okay.
That's an impossibility, to make sure that every single person is happy with the outcome of anything. Because there's always going to be at least that one person that's like, well, bullshit. Okay?
Yeah.
So, releasing of any information or anything else, all we can do as a society is take whatever that information is with a grain of salt and learn from it. And, yeah, it's going to piss some people off. It's going to make some people very angry. It's going to make some people super happy. But that's humanity. That's what we do.
Yeah, that's true. Friend. So, pretty much what you're saying is it is worth it.
Yeah, well,
For-
any kind of unknown information is worth learning. Okay? Any kind. Because the more we know, the better prepared we are for any future issues that come up or any future anything. It's like that whole old saying that knowledge is power. Well, it really is. If we didn't know this, or this, then we wouldn't be able to move on into the future and make it something different.
Yeah, okay. I see that.
So, I mean, yeah, some horrible shit can happen through releases of information, but it is something that us as a world should know. Just because then we can, like I said, learn from it. In whatever way we take it, we can learn from it. Even bad experiences, people learn from. It's kind of like that old thing, like a kid playing with a light socket. Well, if he zaps himself, he will never do it again.
You think so?
Or he'll experiment with it and become Tesla and love electricity for the rest of his life. But no matter what, you've learned something from that experience. Like, even the shittiest experiences in your life built the person that you are today.
I'm not going to lie. I don't think those are the only two options.
Well, death.
No, you do have that kid that just keeps doing it. Mm-hmm. And giggles a little bit every time.
Yeah, and then you have, like, superhumans.
Don't look down, Robert. You know you've met one of those people.
I think Robert is that person. Look at the way he's giggling.
Friend. Friend, I don't know, like, it's a fine line.
Definitely.
Because obviously the current president believes the same thing, that every piece of information that we can learn,
the better we are.
the better we are.
Will help advance.
Mm-hmm.
But he also made one of the biggest military no-nos in the world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He released the names of the people on the plane that crashed
Yeah.
2 weeks ago before the families were notified.
Yeah. No,
Because he believes the world needed to know.
that is true. No, I get where there's fine lines with things. And that's what I was saying, like, sometimes people do what we call white lies in order to cover up something that they think is going to be detrimental to somebody or hurt somebody in some way.
And that's the thing. Like, these files on the two biggest conspiracies in the United States, two of the biggest, not two of the two biggest, but two of the biggest ones. And one of the families that says, no, we're good. Please don't.
Mm-hmm.
Should we still be releasing it?
Well, I mean, like you said, that's kind of a fine line, and it depends on your morality and the issue of morality and what is better for a country versus what is better for the individual or the family. So I think when it comes down to it, whatever ends up happening is unfortunately just going to end up happening. Like, there's nothing we can really do about it as an average everyday citizen that has no power in that way. Now, if the families were that against it, there are different legal systems that they could take and different things that could push back the release of information. And they could potentially go down that pathway with it. But in the years to come, who knows if that would actually hold up in court or not.
I don't think it'd hold up in court now. Truthfully, like, he is doing things that he's not supposed to be doing according to what judges and courts have said.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, when we get into that kind of a thing, like, most people that, I guess you would call them rulers, okay? Because technically that's what everybody that's in charge would be considered as a ruler. Kind of smidge those lines. There hasn't been a single ruler of a single country that hasn't smidged that line somewhere.
I think there's a few.
I really don't think so.
1 second.
Because it's human nature to do that. Like, and that's the thing that people don't understand, is that not all of it is for political gain or anything else. Some of it is just strictly human nature. Like, they believe in this, so that's their system of thought process, and they don't think they're hurting anybody. They don't even realize they are sometimes, but every
President
decision
William
they make...
Henry Harris.
What?
President William Henry Harris.
Okay.
I don't think he did.
Wasn't he only president for like 4 days before he died?
31.
Okay.
But he was only healthy for 4 days.
Yeah. Okay. That.
He didn't get the chance.
Okay. All right. I hear you. Okay. That's like what is King Tut, who only ruled for like a year and was like sick the whole time. Okay. So yeah, we have.
But even sick, he made a huge impact on the planet.
Well, later on, because of his death, he did.
No. When he became
the Pharaoh.
Friend, he immediately started construction on over 90 projects.
Mm-hmm.
I know this. You make me watch those dumb documentaries.
Yes.
So,
yes, I do.
Friend.
No, but that's what I'm saying, is that, like, even small decisions that a ruler makes can inevitably completely change the outcome of the entire country or area that they're ruling over. Like, even if it was only a day, something that they said or some mentality that they had towards something can completely change the structure of a country.
Yeah. Friend, I agree. I don't know, I'm just wondering, like, and I can't get it out of my head, and I don't know why.
Okay.
Like, and it comes back to what Robert said at the beginning of the show. Friend, sometimes the best ideas can come from an accident.
Mm-hmm.
Friend. But it wouldn't just say accident anymore. I'd say mistakes, too. Like, once you actually discover something from them, they become an accident, not a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering if some of these conspiracies we are constantly looking into could be a mistake.
Oh, abso-freaking-lutely. Absolutely. But, again, we learn from our mistakes.
Friend. Like, I've always had the idea in my head that us searching for life on other planets is a mistake.
I absolutely 100% agree with that. Actually, that is something I will 100% agree with.
I always felt that that's like the ant going to look for the anteater.
Yep.
See, now, I always thought of it in a different way, but for the same, like, I think that it's a mistake, but we as humans carry certain diseases. We have a lot of shit that we can pass on through touch and through everything else, and we could completely demolish whatever that life form is without even meaning to, and without consciously making an effort to.
Well, yeah, and, like, that's the thing. Like, I'm trying to remember the probe. We sent a probe out to outer space, to outside of our solar system.
The Challenger?
Nope.
No, God.
Voyager,
Yes.
Yes, sorry, that Challenger.
with the gold disc with all our information of how to get back here and what women and men look like naked.
Yeah. Do you remember what year that went out?
Late 60s, I think, wasn't it?
So
like that.
back before we were really using like plastic gloves and learned how to cough into our elbow and
Yeah.
Yeah.
we sent them the common cold.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, we did.
77.
Well, okay, and so see, that's the thing that I'm saying though, is that like not only that, but even the ship itself, even if it wasn't touched by humans at all, okay, it had no germs, it was bacterialized, it was everything else. The metals itself could be of a composition that is not known on that planet, and that in itself could end up harming whatever society or whatever budding life forms are there.
Look at some magnesiums. The moment they touch oxygen,
yes,
they create a fireball.
Exactly.
Friend.
We could be demolishing whole planets and whole structures and whole things that could end up being intelligent life forms in the future. Accidentally.
And again, we had a movie that like totally addressed this fact. But they did it in a fun, colorful way that made it seem not that crazy, I guess.
Yeah.
Pixels.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
The aliens learned that the way we do battle is through video games. The problem is, they could learn the way we do battle is, friend, biological.
Yes.
But we also gave them a disc describing our entire human history and teaching them all of our weaknesses.
Yeah, so essentially we just completely could demolish an entire species of whatever, but we could also give them the power to completely demolish us in return.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And no, I don't think that we should have anything to do with the evolution of other planets. We can't even properly take care of our own planet. We don't need to be out there fucking up other people's worlds. Other life forms' worlds.
Friend, well, but then you look at it that the actual, like what we are compared to all of the things on our planet, we are the world's largest parasite.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing.
Well, and it is human nature to expand and conquer. Like, I mean, we
No.
call it exploration, expansion, conquering, whatever. But we demolish everything in our wake.
Destruction.
We demolish everything in our wake. Like, for instance, how many places are completely screwed because we decided that we were gonna strip mine that entire area because it had these minerals in it.
And even things of beauty that we create. We have to destroy something to create them.
Yeah.
And we may think they're beautiful. Friend. But again, like, it could be something that is completely...
It could end up being a complete invasive species or something of that nature.
No, but not even that, Kayla. I mean, like, actual art.
Mm-hmm.
Friend, like, the big bean. There's a big, chrome bean in one of the cities in the United States.
Uh-huh.
I think it's New York.
Yeah.
Friend, that could be the biggest insult to an alien planet.
Yeah,
we don't
absolutely.
know.
Well, even...
Or they could just look at it and be like, what the fuck is that? That's gross.
Well, even our color palettes could be something that was offensive. We do that even with different cultures on our own planet.
Yeah.
We can do something that we think of as, hey, high five, man, or thumbs up, buddy, and it can be taken as, well, you go fuck yourself in a different country. We do that all the time.
Oh, don't get so violent.
Okay, sorry. Chicago.
Why does Chicago need to go fuck itself, Robert? Oh, is that where the bean is?
That's where the bean is. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I was like, damn, Robert really hates Chicago. Friend.
Everyone gets ill of noise. So.
Friend, I don't know, like a lot of yeah, that's it.
Giant bean.
Friend.
Imagine the fuss you could do with that one.
But like,
I don't need the bean. No.
even I don't get that art piece. I don't understand.
I don't understand most modern art pieces. Really.
Maybe it's an homage to Mr. Bean.
Yeah, it could be.
It didn't have a top
Could
hat.
be.
Nope.
Like,
Or teddy bear and yeah.
but we are the weirdest creature in the world. Things for humans do not have value until we give it to them. Friend.
Well, and I've always wondered about certain art pieces because, I mean, like, you can look at certain things and obviously there are people that are way better at drawing a human face than somebody else. Okay, but then you get something like a Picasso piece where honestly, some of it shit looks like a 5-year-old drew it and it's just awkward and people are paying millions and millions of dollars for this piece of art because it speaks to them in whatever way. And yet this guy that can make these beautiful faces and does portraits and does all kinds of amazing art will never get recognized because he's just somebody in the back hills of Kentucky or some dude that lives wherever and just never will end up becoming anything even though he's an amazing artist. It is all about perception of the art, which is really a weird concept in any way.
I mean, they sold a banana duct tape to a wall for $6.2 million.
Yeah.
That is really insane.
Absolutely. But somebody paid it somewhere. Like, that's the thing, is that it's just weird what we consider good music, good art, good, when there's people who are far better at it that will never get recognized for it.
Friend, And like that's the stupid part. That banana thing, it sold twice.
Well, it's got a shelf life, so they had to sell it quick, like a quick resale.
Well, that's the thing I'm wondering. Was it the same
Banana?
Yeah.
Or did the banana fall apart, so they just grabbed another banana from their local grocery store and taped it up there?
Well, no, there was a thing that said, like, someone said the guy who bought it the first time ate the banana.
That was a super expensive meal.
Well, the first time it sold for $120,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a super expensive meal.
And then it went for $6.2 million.
Well, I work at the grocery store now, so I'm going to grab a fish, and I'm going to duct tape it to a board, and I'm going to sell it on Etsy. It's going to be great.
But will it be a red herring?
And no. You got to do it with an egg.
I got to do it with an egg?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That'd be the most expensive ass to start for.
Are yours too?
Down here, they're still about $4 to $5 for a dozen.
Jesus, I wish.
It's like $40 for 5 dozen here.
$35.99 right now.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Right?
Just a dozen for for mediums is $7.99.
Yeah.
So
no, it's redonkulous. I was like, okay, we're taking eggs off the menu, guys. Which really sucks because, like, that's a staple for, like, cakes and breads and everything else. So I'm like, I don't eat a lot of just fried egg, but we use it in almost everything. So it sucks.
Yeah. Well, and the kids do eat a lot of fried eggs.
The kids.
That's why we had to stop buying them.
And that's the thing is that eggs used to be a cheap form of protein that was good for the kids. They fry up an egg in the morning, they boil an egg, make some egg sandwiches. Okay, it was way cheaper than buying lunch meat or something like that for them to make a sandwich out of. And now I'm like, dude, no, we're an eggless family here.
Friend.
Well, that's why you go and buy chickens.
I wish.
We're not
we're in an HOA that doesn't allow any livestock.
I was thinking about that though. What if we bought a chicken and said it identifies as a dog?
Or a duck? Yeah.
Oh, can't have a duck because that's a farm animal too. We can't have farm animals.
But
Well, you know what I'd be saying to the HOA?
Yeah. I wish.
Yeah, well.
I'd
like to say that to him on a couple of things, but hey.
So,
however, you know what? Mom is not in an HOA, and she lives like 15 minutes from here. I could totally just build a whole mini farm at her house. She would fucking love that.
Quit trying to put animals at your mom's house.
She would be so freaking mad at me if she came home and there was a whole chicken coop set up. Like
she wouldn't.
Mini fucking pig. She'd be like, what the hell?
Okay, the pig would piss her off. The chickens, she would love.
Yeah, she'd grow to love them.
Friend, she just wouldn't be able to love the fact that she had to take care of them.
Yeah.
And you'd have to call the pig Kevin.
Kevin Bacon!
Exactly.
Friend.
So we call everything Steve, honestly.
That's true.
Steve.
I think we've had like 4 hamsters named Steve. It was Steve 1, Steve 2, Steve 3, and Steve 4.
Friend. So what do you guys... Okay. We have Bigfoot here in the U.S. Do you think all this political crap and world anger that is happening is affecting them?
I don't think so.
No?
No.
I don't
they
think
couldn't give a shit.
Really give a fuck about what humans are doing unless they're like fucking up their area. Then they give a shit.
Leave them alone.
But we are.
They won't care.
Yeah.
In a way. Expanding, building more stuff.
Yeah, expanding, building more stuff. The idea that we're letting the California wildfires just burn because there's not enough water.
Can't get to them all.
Yeah.
Friend, that changes their entire area.
But you know what, though? It doesn't, because forest fires are a natural phenomena. So these happen year after year in certain areas. They happen 10,000 years apart in other areas, different things like that. But fire is something that I believe that they could adapt to just because of the fact that it is a natural phenomenon. Like,
except for the fact that all of the California fires are not natural phenomena.
Yeah, no, and I get that. But what I'm saying is that it wouldn't necessarily scare them in the same way that...
nuclear bomb would.
Yeah.
No, but like what I'm saying is even like, okay, if they're a migratory animal, which in the end humans are as well.
Almost everything is a migratory animal if you really think about it. Like, even if it's only a short period of area that they, or a short span of area that they cover, they still migrate from one area to another.
But they also don't have
nomadic.
They don't have Facebook and newsreels and all that kind of crap. So they left an area of California, went up to Oregon. They come back and their home is completely destroyed. The entire forest is gone.
Yeah. I mean, definitely.
How does that not affect them? You know what I mean?
Well, yes. And I mean, like, that would affect, and that's why certain populations of birds are so affected by different buildings and stuff that we do, and why certain species go extinct because we accidentally built over their only spawning grounds. Like, that kind of shit. It happens all the time. So, I mean, yeah, it would affect them, but just as much as it would affect anybody or anything else.
What I'm wondering is, do you think they have the good sense to... Maybe it's not good sense. I don't know. I'm going to call it that, though. The good sense to actually just stay out of it. Stay hidden.
Yeah, probably. I mean, they've done it for how long?
I know, but we've never had the impact on the actual planet. Our impact on our planet continuously gets worse.
Well, yeah, the more people we have, the more impact we have.
At what point do they say enough?
Yeah, well, and see, that's the thing, is that even species of animals on this planet that we do know about have gotten to the point where some of them say that's enough and have started re-encroaching on those areas that they used to go to. And then humans are like, oh my god, there's a tiger in the middle of town. You know, that kind of crap. Okay? But they will come back eventually to those areas. If they run out of space, they're going to.
Here it was a zebra. Friend.
Yeah, we did have a wild zebra in Washington for a while.
And he became an internet sensation. You saw him at the Mariners game, at the Seahawks game, at Whole Foods. That guy went everywhere.
Yeah.
I've seen the kangaroos jumping over that way too.
Really?
Down over bridges and down the streets and stuff like that, and emus as well because they can't keep the buggers in the pens. Okay, what's this?
We have
Walk.
Well, there is a whole species of deer in China, in this one area of China, that because their land has been encroached on so much, they now walk in with the tourists, and they have gotten so used to the tourist population that that's what actually feeds them now. Is they'll take crackers and they'll eat different things that the tourists drop, and like eat garbage and different stuff like that. There was this whole documentary on it and how when 2020 happened and the tourism stopped in that area.
Yeah, they suffered.
They suffered massively because that's what they'd become reliant on for all their food sources.
That would suck.
Yeah.
Friend.
Right? You have your land taken away and then everything that was feeding you is gone now. What do you do?
Yeah.
Ugh. But, like, there are a lot of documented cases of, like, elephants trampling whole villages because they built in their area.
On the area they love.
Or decimating whole farmlands because they're hungry and it was there. So eventually, everything kind of fights back.
So Andrew earlier was mentioning that the Australia, you guys have a Bigfoot version called Yowies.
Yep.
What are the differences between a Yowie and like what we have for a traditional Bigfoot here?
Not a whole lot, except that, well, the ones here, they're usually between a dark brown to black, and I think the ones over there are mainly brown to light brown.
Yeah.
Going through the forest. Yeah. Like there's a set or a family of them in the Byfield National Forest.
Okay.
And that's only about 45 minutes to an hour away from here. They do go up Mount Archer, which is the main hill in Rockhampton, which is the next town over where I come from. Because only out here because I got kicked out of the house there, but yeah, they have been up there. They sort of go down the hill, down into the nature reserves and stuff, because there's pretty much from the other side of the hill of Mount Archer to the coast, it's all bushland. So they got plenty of places to hide if the mountain goes on fire, because it does occasionally. There's lots of watering holes between here and the Byfield National Forest. There's a place called Stony Creek, which I believe they inhabit a fair bit when it's not being used by tourists. So, yeah, there's places in between that they can all gather around and use.
So,
that's just here.
They are
down south. There's more.
Mm-hmm.
And they are all mainly forest creatures still.
Yeah.
Well, forest and bushlands.
Yeah. Scrub.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, just like in Saskatchewan, they would be considered bush creatures, not forest creatures. Like
No.
No. Why?
What is the north side of Saskatchewan, Kayla?
Well, the boreal forest, but I'm
No, yeah, like when they come into the prairies, they're migrating.
Oh yeah, I guess they're going from one area of the boreal to
But
the
they
other.
are
Okay.
from they migrate south a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But that's for the lakes.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you think? Okay, because we like the version of Bigfoot or the version of Yowie or anything like that we've seen depicted is a large hair-covered creature. Okay. So they've got to be used to different extremes in weather too in order to live in these places. All right? Because like Yeti, for instance, is always in kind of a colder climate and everything else, and they're more depicted like a polar bear versus like a brown bear or a black bear depiction. Do you know? So if you were to take like, let's say a Yowie and put them in like the forest over here, do you think that they'd still be able to thrive, or do you think that that would be so much of a difference that they wouldn't be able to make it?
Depends on what area they go to, because if you put them up where the snow and ice is at the moment, I don't think they'd survive because they're used to the temperatures down this way. And yeah, it's if they went somewhere like California or that sort of climate area, like that region, they might be able to survive in that area if you took them from here to there.
I think it would still suck for them.
Oh, definitely.
Because, like,
they wouldn't be able to speak the language.
Well, we also...
No, but you take them, like, let's say you take them in the fall from Australia. In your fall.
The heat, yeah.
Here it's spring. So they're still just getting... They get an entire year for the first year of just fucking heat. They don't get the break.
Right. Well, see, and that's kind of what I say when they, like, do the relocation of, like, brown bears and different stuff like that. I'm like, you're taking them from a region where it's cold 6 months out of the year and putting them into a region where it's only cold 2 months out of the year. Like, you just fucked
the
up
hibernation had to be stuffed up.
everything about their placement. Like, yeah, they used to be here, but there's a reason they aren't anymore. And whether it's deforestation or not, they become used to the different temperatures and climates of the area that they've re-inhabited. So I've always thought it was super weird that
Most
we
of
could
the
just take like a
relocations,
Russian
Kayla-
brown bear and
but-
like release them in Washington. Like what?
No. They never released Russian black bears or Russian brown bears in Washington.
Oh, right.
Those were bears from Montana.
Okay.
They have the same weather.
So, yeah, okay. So that's basically the same type of weather.
Yes.
And same type of environment.
And that's what they have done with every of one of these
Because I've been,
creatures.
like, super confused about it. Because I was like, dude, if we took, like, a brown bear from here and released him in, like, Saskatchewan, where it gets totally different freaking weather, and it's a totally different environment, like, that would suck ass for that bear that's just not used to it.
Yeah, it would cry when it reached May and it's still snowing.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like, their hibernation would have to be totally different. Their
No.
food sources and
It
everything.
doesn't.
Like, it's weird.
Food sources, yes. Hibernation, no.
No?
Their hibernation doesn't change for that.
Huh. So they only hibernate the same amount of time no matter how cold or no
Yes.
matter what area it is? Really? I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Like, I honestly didn't know that about
The
bears.
grizzlies in California still hibernate just as long.
As the grizzlies in Saskatchewan.
Yes.
That's super weird. It seems like there would be a different hibernation pattern because of the weather changes and the amount of food available.
You got to think of the reasons they're hibernating. They're not hibernating because it's cold.
Well, no.
Otherwise, polar bears would never wake up.
No, but they're hibernating because of food sources.
Yes.
But there wouldn't be as many food sources.
Yes, there is.
Is there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Huh.
It's just they have
It would
to
be
work harder
different
for
stuff.
it.
It'd
And
be
it's
different stuff. Okay. So it'd be like they eat more fish over here versus berries versus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
I got you.
we have winter berries in northern Saskatchewan that you can collect all year round.
Okay.
They would eat the hell out of those.
Oh, okay. All right. I get you. That makes more sense.
Also, when they relocate animals like that,
Uh-huh.
they do leave out certain food sources for them to begin with.
Just to get them used to
Yes.
the environment.
But they change what the food source is to that area's natural stuff. It's just they collect them for them.
Oh, okay. So it's not just like, here, thrive. Bye.
But also, they wouldn't really move bears from California back up to Saskatchewan or vice versa because those two animals are not the same animal.
Yeah. Okay.
But like moving
Like,
wolves
it would be
from-
like the difference between like a black bear here and like a Russian black bear there.
But moving wolves
Okay.
from
No caviar.
northern Saskatchewan and Manitoba down to Yellowstone, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Those two areas do have a lot of the same weather patterns as well as the same flora and fauna.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So they
So
can
it's
thrive.
not like they just take something and put it like they would grab a brown bear from here and put it in the Australian bush and be like, here, live.
Well, yeah, we do. We call that a zoo.
Well, I know, but I mean like.
And then
just
we try and
release,
adjust
you
it to
know.
what
Okay.
they're used to,
Whatever.
but it doesn't work.
Air conditioning.
Yeah. Ran.
See, I've always wondered, like, if we were to have, like, a zoo that got broken into and, like, a whole bunch of, oh, God, what was I saying? Kangaroos were to be released from the zoo, okay?
Yeah.
And, like, they couldn't catch them and stuff. Do you think that they would be able to reproduce and live in an area like Washington? Because they're a
Maybe.
lot like our deer. Like, the structure of a kangaroo is a lot like some of our, like, mule deer and stuff. So,
I actually 100% know they can.
yeah.
We have farms.
Oh yeah, I guess we do have a couple kangaroo farms, don't we? I didn't even think about that.
And they're natural farms.
Yeah.
They don't feed them like...
Processed stuff.
Yeah, they don't bring in stuff that from other areas. They feed them off the land.
Oh, okay. So, okay, well,
That'd
yeah.
be like the camels when the first explorers came over here. They brought camels, and now the Northern Territory is full of camels. There's heaps of them that they're thriving.
Huh.
So,
Well, I guess
similar desert sort of regions.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like when they released the Python or whatever in the Everglades, and now they're just freaking everywhere.
Well, and
yeah, the ones that escaped with the tornado. Yeah.
That's the thing when it comes to our cryptids. That's why I think like they would adapt just like any other animal.
Okay. Yeah.
Friend, yes, there's a chance they may die off, but there's also a chance they could hugely thrive.
Thrive.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone always says, you'll never find a chupacabra anywhere but Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Or the South America area. But central to South America. But we have other creatures of a different name that I honestly think are the same creature.
They're probably the same type of creature, if not the same creature, just they're called something different.
In the same genre or family.
Because of regional area. Well, it's just like you don't have Bigfoot, you have Yowie, but they're the same basic creature.
Well, and that's the thing. I think all bears are the same creature.
Mm-hmm.
But their adaptations make them a different species.
Yeah, so it would be a different species of chupacabra, but still a chupacabra.
Yes.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Friend, just like
when they come on and say, "Nice goat."
Yeah. The same thing with what you were saying about Bigfoot versus Yeti.
Yeah.
I believe those are two different actual like species. Of the same creature.
Okay, so that would be like a brown bear and a polar bear.
Yes.
Like the difference between the coats and everything. Okay. Or, I mean, like, even humans, we have different characteristics based off of the areas that we live in.
We just don't separate it enough to actually consider it different species.
A different species versus, yeah.
Friend. But I think we're actually to the point now where, like, 10,000 years is a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that long, but it's long enough to actually start. We're getting to the point where we are going to start having different species of human.
Yes, absolutely. And actually, if you think about it from an evolutionary standpoint of specific genes going further than other genes because of the fact that this makes this person stronger or faster or whatever, we are continuously breaking records on speeds, on jump distances, on different things like that. Like, if you look at Olympic records for these things, we're breaking them all the time.
Well, I'm just waiting for them to see how fast they can do in the rowing, because the river that they're going to be doing the rowing in is the Fitzroy River, which is in Rockhampton, just over there. And there are crocodiles in that river. So rowing times should be excellent this year.
Yeah, that sounds like motivation to me.
Exactly.
Well, and
World record.
But like, when we look at it, like, yeah,
is that
we've only
also
been
where
here.
they're doing the triathlon? Oh.
I'm not sure. I think that's down south somewhere, but I know the rowing is in the river here.
Okay.
Friend,
Not sure where the triathlon's going to be.
Because then the speeds for that would be a lot faster too.
Oh yeah, if it was on the either in a river or near the ocean, because there's been crocodiles spotted further south than they've been spotted recently.
Mm-hmm.
Like one was found in Bundaberg, and the cutoff of where they're normally seen is, I think, Gladstone, which is about 2 hours north of where they've been sighted.
Oh wow.
And that leads me to another point. One of the Facebook pages I look at every now and then says that Australia has been moving north by, I think, 10 centimetres a year. So that's 4 inches per year, going up further north. So that could be why we're getting so damn hot as well.
Okay. Well, wouldn't you just eventually smash into another continent then? Like, if you
Guinea or Japan, yeah.
Right?
Eventually.
well,
So you're like the world's slowest bumper car.
Export costs wouldn't be as much then.
Yeah, well,
Are the Kiwis moving with you?
I'm not sure. I think they got their own land mass.
Because that would
With
suck.
the
the
Like,
tectonic
you're gonna take
plates
them
are
out.
different. Yeah.
yeah.
For like,
Yeah, they could no longer call this the Big Island.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Australia just became the slowest moving bumper car. Smash.
But like, I guess when I compare us to cryptids, that's the thing. Like, Bigfoot, I believe they are farther along than us in their evolutionary genealogy.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that think that Bigfoot is the evolutionary form of primitive.
But that's the thing. I don't think they're primitive to us. I think that they are advanced to us.
Mm-hmm.
I think they broke off first and advanced farther than us.
In certain ways, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like spiritually and different ways like that. Yes.
And that's the thing. Like, yes, technologically we advanced like fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm. But
But-
they might not have needed the technological advancements because
no.
they have the abilities to do other things.
Friend, that always disappears too fast. I can't read that much.
Like survive without iPhones.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, it's the fact that if you look at what we're doing now, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
We are just starting to advance to the point where we are breaking world records all the time
Mm-hmm.
because we're advancing on an actual physical set right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of just technological.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Eddie Hall.
Yeah.
The first man to lift 1,100 pounds, 500 kilograms. That's insane. Sure, he
got-
bled from almost every orifice when he did it.
Yes.
But
Yeah, no, it was crazy to watch. Like, as he's picking it up, his nose just starts bleeding. He's bleeding from his eyeballs. His teeth are, like, bright red. I'm like, oh my god, he busted everything in him doing this. That's crazy. But he did it.
yeah,
Yeah.
friend, and he has no regrets whatsoever of it.
Mm-hmm.
But someone is eventually going to break that record too.
Yeah, eventually. Yes.
And
I'm pretty sure that the world's largest man record has been broken over and over and over again, too. Like,
but that's the thing. What I'm saying there is, I think that given enough time, we could be to the point where kids would be lifting 500 kilograms.
yeah, no. If we went on the same evolutionary path and we didn't have certain interferences, then absolutely. Like, we are capable of a lot more than people think we can. Like, humans in general are capable of some crazy ass things that we don't do regularly just because we haven't had to. But if we got back into the, like, nomad mindset where we had to do these things, your evolutionary body would take over, and you'd be able to do things that you had no idea you were capable of doing before.
Yeah.
Like, once people get into that, like, survival mode, it, like, keens your senses of sight, it keens your senses of smell. All of a sudden, you can be a hunter when you've never hunted in your life before. You're able to use things and throw distances that you didn't think were possible for you to do. Like, there's a lot of stuff that would completely change about a person once they get into that survival mode.
Friend,
Yeah.
Robert, what area are you in?
You're in Queensland, right?
Yeah, Central Queensland, on the Tropic of Capricorn.
So if you are moving north
Mm-hmm.
in
In that amount of space and time, yeah.
well,
We're going to end up well, it says we're on a clockwise sort of tilt angle as well, so it'll eventually move like that. So we might still be in the same sort of area, but the rest of Australia is going to sort of turn around like that, and up in Western Australia is probably going to get really hot because they're getting closer to the equator.
Yeah, from the looks of it, if none of the other islands are moving with you,
Tasmania's going to be way down there.
Melville Island or Darwin area,
Yeah.
they're going to hit New Guinea
Uh-huh.
or Papua New Guinea. That's where you're first going to hit another landmass. If they're not moving with you.
It's going to be, congregate again, you mother.
Oh, wow.
But going back to what we were.
I have to admit, I think that the world it wouldn't be ready for all of the plant life and all of the creatures that live on Australia getting onto a different, bigger continent. I don't think they would be ready for some of those.
Well, they would have all come from the one place in Pangaea originally anyway.
Right.
So some of the places like Africa, they have the crocodiles that we have here too, because they basically split apart from us and form their own unit.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, you are going to, like, if you're moving straight north, you're going to take out New Guinea, Indonesia, the Philippines, Taiwan.
Yeah.
Oh, no more computer parts.
No, they'll just be manufactured in Australia now.
And you're going to hit China.
So, okay, how would that work, though? Okay, for like borders and different stuff, like if you were to merge with like China here eventually, then would you still be your own Australian sovereign land, or would you be then considered part of China? Like,
well, we already considered the part of the Asia Pacific, so it might not cause too much hassle.
Well, it would.
Yeah,
because depending on how fast you're moving clockwise, like you could directly.
Broom could hit up into China where the pearls are needed anyway, because that's where the pearl farms are, in Broome on Western Australia.
Well, but every time you hit a landmass, it's going to push that edge of Australia up.
Okay, but how far... But what is the speed of the other continental movement? Because you got to take that into account, too, because if any of the other continents are moving, then you might not hit anything at all by the time you got there.
Or we might hurry them up.
Right?
Right.
But it says that we're the fastest moving at the moment, so yeah, anything in our way might go, oh shit, get out of the way! Or it could cause volcanic eruptions and sink them in our path.
Right. Well, and that's what I'm saying, is that you got to take into the other considerations and factors, too, because everything is moving. It's just at what percentage it's moving.
Right.
China's moving east.
Huh?
Or west. China's moving west.
Okay.
It's still moving west. It has been. That's what created the Alps.
The land, the setting sun.
Right.
Friend.
But see, that's what I'm saying.
But if it moves fast enough, you're going to miss it. Then you're going to hit Canada.
You guys are technically part of the same branch off of England there, right? So that wouldn't be too bad either.
Well, it kind of would, because if they hit Canada...
Return to the motherland.
That puts Australia in the North Pole.
Oh.
Ooh.
It'd be a little chilly.
Could you imagine that weather? Fred.
So wait, Santa would be Australian then?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well,
okay.
everyone would have to wear Ugg boots. Yeah.
But
that made Australians as elves. Oh.
all those dangerous creatures you guys have,
they keep on saying that NASA pays us to continue the ruse. So.
All those dangerous creatures you guys have, well, they're fucked.
Oh, they would be.
Yeah, they'd freeze to death.
Taipans would probably go extinct because that's what we've got in this area. Taipans and a lot of the other wild, nearly highly dangerous venomous snakes and spiders. Yeah.
But hey, by the time that happens, the poles could switch, so then therefore you wouldn't even be in the same area. Or we could have some different crustal displacement and you'd be right on the equator. Like, who knows?
Who knows?
Spiders are not that scary when they're just frozen.
Oh, God. You know, thinking about it, though, it's kind of crazy because we are constantly moving still. And eventually we're going to be in totally different areas with totally different everything, just like we were like when we branched off of Pangea. Like, eventually we're probably just going to be one supercontinent again for a while before we branch back out and become our own areas. Yeah.
But will that be before the Earth's core stops spinning?
Right. Who knows? Like, they keep telling everything is in like these billion-year time slots and stuff, but you know, that shit happens faster than you'd think.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that billion years is tomorrow. Like, it has to have a stopping and a starting point at some point.
Mm-hmm. Has to.
Yeah. Well, just like they're saying, like our big one up here is like the Cascadia fault line. And how it every so many hundreds of years it lets off an earthquake and all that jazz. Yeah, and it hasn't since we built like all of these skyscrapers right on the coast, you know, and like started populating these areas that if we'd have known ahead of time probably would have been better off populating into the mountains a little further.
And everyone wanted coastal views.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, at some point, like even something like a devastating earthquake like that would cause some major crustal displacement and would cause a ridiculous amount of damage. Like, that would be insane.
It would.
And like, we're supposedly by their predictions, we're like 50 years on the other side of when it was supposed to have happened, so it could happen at any point.
Yep.
So you're like, oh, well, that's fucking fabulous. But there's a lot of things that we seem to be like 50 to 60 years on the other side of that we're all just like, okay, this could happen at any point now.
Yes.
So.
Everyone's looking at their watch. Yeah.
Speaking of watches, what were you saying about that the doomsday clock?
Oh.
What they're like in seconds now or something instead of minutes.
Yeah.
They're taking it second by second.
Hold on 1 second. Doomsday Clock 2025.
See, look it up.
Yep.
So they said it. I think it was January 29th. Because it was 8 days ago. It is the 5th, so yeah, that's about right. 29th. It was set to 89 seconds to midnight. It's the closest it's ever been to midnight. We're only going forward 1 second. We're at the point now where if it continues along this path, that means we have 89 years until the destruction of Earth. Well, humanity, not Earth. Because in the last 3 years, we have moved 1 second each year. So,
human existence, according to the Doomsday Clock, only has like 89 more years?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
terrifying. It's okay. I'll be dead by then.
And it was the 28th. Friend. So really, but if you look at that, we get 89 years plus 1 month. Because they always do it at the end of January. So, yeah. Varen. Set your clocks, folks. I forgot to change ours.
Oh, we have we have a wall clock that we move with the doomsday clock. It's just like an old grandmother clock that hangs there. This big monstrosity of a clock. And yeah, we set it with the doomsday clock. So every time the doomsday clock moves, we move our clock.
Now it's a harder thing to do because it doesn't have a seconds timer.
Yeah, because it's old. We'll have to put a little seconds timer on it, I guess, and just move it.
No, I have to use a diameter reader.
Yeah.
And actually change it to 60 seconds in each minute. But we are almost done here tonight. Next week,
What? You got nothing?
Huh?
You got nothing?
Not really. I think next week I want to talk about the we're going to call it the alien movement.
Alien movement.
Yes.
All right. Where are we moving them to?
We're not.
Oh. Okay.
But I want to look at the ways we're going to react to them if they ever actually introduce themselves to the planet.
Mm-hmm. Like a full-on introduction? Like they land
Yes.
here and they're like, hey, what's up? We're from this planet. Okay.
So I'm going to look up a few of the different plans that a few countries have because some of them are released.
Mm-hmm.
And then also where we've come from when we first started talking about them.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the first conversations we had about aliens in the early 30s, 40s, and 50s.
We're all about them coming and conquering us.
And killing us.
Killing us off. Okay.
And how far we've come from that, but at the same time haven't.
Yeah. All right, sounds good. Aliens. Woo!
So, yeah, that's what we'll do next week. But, friend.
All right.
I don't know where the hell Robert went.
Eh, who knows?
He left us.
He disappeared.
Friend. I don't know, like, the whole plates thing that you guys were talking about earlier, it always freaks me out.
Why?
Because it leads me down a goddamn rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Friend, Robert's really good at looking at Google Maps. You are amazing at that shit. Friend, I don't, like, okay, so I was looking at your area and where you're from.
Yeah.
And then I zoomed out, and it got to the point where I actually had a planet on Google Maps. Okay, instead of just a flat sheet.
Yeah.
And have you guys ever looked at the land bridge between Russia and Alaska?
Yeah, it's only like piddly amount small, yeah.
Yeah.
But deep.
So there's an island there called the Diomede Islands.
Mm-hmm.
And there's big
one's
big, one's little.
Yeah.
Friend, well, when you first, like, zoom out, they look green.
Yep.
As you zoom in, they get whiter and whiter, and you can see that they're mostly ice.
Yep.
But there's one area that I can't read what it's actually called because it's in Russian. But it's called South Greenland.
Right.
And of course, it's covered in ice. But the picture is a beautiful tropical island.
Alrighty.
And I don't think anyone inhabits that area.
Maybe
I don't
not.
know. There might be a few stragglers here and there. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. Like, it's weird. Oh, shit. There's an island lower, too.
There's a lot of islands in the middle of nowhere.
St. Lawrence Island. That one actually has people on it. Holy shit. Fuck, they're crazy.
Okay, there's a place in Canada.
Phone was going off, so that's why I had to switch it off and go see what they were calling about.
There's a place in Canada called Yellowknife that I believe the people that live there are fucking crazy too. So, you know.
Why? I would love to live in Yellowknife.
Hell no. I would be frozen all the time. I don't think I'd ever warm up, ever.
You get to go to the grocery store in a snowmobile.
Yeah, no thanks. No thank you.
Friend, that would be awesome.
I'm totally happy with my rain-swept Washington.
Plus, it's right, and see, that is completely off too, because when you zoom out on the Northwest Territories, and Yellowknife is just above Great Slave Lake, it's green as shit too.
Yeah, but it's not. It's an iceberg that people live on. Okay.
It just makes it look like all our snow is so dirty.
Well, I'm not gonna say.
Well, I'd like to experience the what do they call them? When the ice comes up and it's totally blue on the inside.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to experience that once at least.
Now, does Australia? I'm really bad with different areas of the world. So when it is wintertime in Australia, do you guys get snow in Queensland?
Yeah, not in Queensland. Well, there's a couple of places way down south near the border that get frost.
Okay.
But it goes away by about 8 o'clock in the morning. But down south, further into New South Wales, they have the snowy mountains, which obviously get snow. Mm-hmm. Like we were in there, we went up to Perisher, which is one of the snow resorts, and I've gotten photos from that area. It's all snow over everywhere. Mm-hmm. There's a place there called Jindabyne that they actually moved the town up onto a hill because they flooded it for the hydroelectric dam.
Oh, okay.
So if you go there during the summer months, you can actually dive and still see all the structures that were there before they flooded it.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Like churches and houses and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Some of them are still there.
Interesting.
What's that area called?
The church is Jindabyne. Jynd. Hang on, let me look that up. Byne. Yeah, Jindabyne.
Huh. That's actually kind of really cool. I would like to go diving and just check it out then. Like, that's something that would be fun to do.
Yeah, it's part of the Snowy Mountains.
See, because my uncle was from, like, Queensland area, so the same area that you're in.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't really get a lot of information. Most of my information that I have on Australia is from my aunt, who only lived over there for, I believe, 5 years, when her and my uncle started dating and everything, like, and, like, she went all over Australia, though. She didn't just stay in, like, Queensland. Like, they started there, and then she would travel all over the place and then come back, but... So she'll tell me about all kinds of stuff that she saw everywhere, you know. So I get really confused on the actual, like, landmass of Australia and what areas have what. Because she's like, oh, yeah, we saw koalas doing this and this. But she's talking about over here versus over here because she goes to all different areas and... like, visits people and everything. And I was like, oh, God, okay.
It gets it all mixed up.
Yeah, so I'm always mixed up on what wildlife lives where. And, like, when you're talking about this place, you're talking about it almost tropical. When you're talking about this place, you're talking about, like, a desert-type land. When you're talking...
Yeah.
And, like, so my mind, as a kid, hearing these stories, just went into, that's everywhere. Like, that's just... there's pieces of this, like... everywhere, you know, so I get super confused.
Friend, I found a town called Weewa.
Weewa?
Yep.
Don't touch my Weewa.
So, like, as far as the wildlife in your area in Queensland, yours is
Yep.
more of a tropical type wildlife, like tropical birds
Yeah.
and... Okay.
Yep. Yeah, there's as you've seen by the photos, kangaroos. There are snakes out there. The wife finally just the other day nearly caught a snake in the toilet door.
Oh.
Like it was only a small one, about that big. But it was a python, so it wasn't going to hurt anything. But yeah, just got caught in the door as she was closing it to use the toilet.
Yeah, well, because you guys are like almost even with like Paraguay in America.
Yeah.
So then, in Queensland, do you guys have cassowaries?
Up north we do, because it's called the Cassowary Coast.
Oh, okay.
Hang on.
No worries. Friend, with that, guys, we actually do have to go. It is 12:01. Friend, so thank you for listening. Next week again, we'll be back with the alien movement, and we'll see you all later.
Bye, everybody.
Okay. Later.
Data transfer complete. System malfunction. Please evacuate immediately. Program terminated.